Quiet on the set. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Welcome to Mondays with Myrt, where we talk about anything and everything that may have come across our Genia desks in the last 3 weeks since last we met. Gosh, I missed everybody. I'd much rather have been here than been sick in my bed, but we're better. But it's a good thing we get to meet in virtual reality here because we don't have to worry about communicable diseases. Okay, Myrt, what a wonderful way to start Mondays with Myrt. I don't know. Let's bring the panelists up. We're going to have a good day today. Among the things that we're going to talk about, first of all, there's also book club today. That will start at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time. So that gives us theoretically a 45-minute break between Mondays with Myrt and book club if you happen to decide to go to both. We are going to be working through David Hackett Fisher's Four British Folkways in America. And I was fascinated by this book, particularly from just the housing point of view, because you can trace the type of housing, the way the towns are organized, some of the language and colloquialisms to specific places in England. And when we are looking at this humongous book by David Hackett Fisher, it talks about folkways. And the ones on this list, that's the list of categories of manners, customs, mores, and morals. The ones with the asterisks are the ones we're going to be talking about. And the 4 migration pattern groups are going to be very interesting. Now, those aren't the only migration groups coming to the Americas in the colonial time period, but that's what we will be discussing. Also, I just want to mention, I'm going to get all these announcements out of the way. The Fabulous 40s Genia Bloggers Initiative, Preserving Ancestral Stories One Memory at a Time, is on. And if Randy would share the link to that from our docket, that link that he's going to share with you all explains the purpose of it, and we go forward from there. Now, when it comes to creating a blog post, a podcast, or even a webinar like this, when we're sharing a story in that YouTube video, whatever it is, just think of 2 words, 1 sentence, and 5 sentences. And that's all of Krista Cowan's Anatomy of a Story. It's a presentation that she did at Roots Tech clear back in 2023, and it's still there on the web. Here in Canada, well, let's pull the panelists up. We've got them all here, don't we? Yes, we do. So welcome, panelists. They've let us do circles now. I think that's kind of cute, don't you? Up in Canada there, Ellen's from Canada. You're observing Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And so let me pull up a few things here. So Thanksgiving, you have a Canadian encyclopedia. And thank you for sharing this link. Let me actually share my screen again. I love it. I love what the panelists bring to the table. And you learned something today. What was that?
No, it didn't start until 1579.
Yeah. Yeah. the very first event of it, and ours started a little earlier than that. Yeah, something like in the 1600s, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. And here in the US, let me pull the up. I'll just drag something up there. 1 second. Um, we have this is traditionally, originally thought of as um, Columbus Day. Now, Columbus Day would have been yesterday, and they usually give people Monday off if that day occurs on a weekend. But now we're becoming a little more politically aware, and I'm sure that Randy will share the link to these several pages. We're now also recognizing that we should be celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. They've been here a heck of a lot longer than the 1600s. And boy, am I learning to be more thoughtful in that manner. Here, living here on the Salish Sea, and very closely aligned with some of the Samish nation. This is from Berkeley, California. Anyway, yeah. All right, so let's see how our panelists are doing today. We have Frank, our guy in Germany. We've already met Ellen. If you're new, I love the fact that we have people from all walks of life, from different places on the face of the earth. Jill and I are practically neighbors. In fact, we take bread making classes together.
We have to schedule another one.
Oh, yes, that's for sure. We're into like the winter artesian breads and autumn flavored, with cinnamon and stuff like that. Apple tarts, things like that. Hillary's our gal in Wales. Hi, Hillary.
Hi.
And Hillary's going to be leaving Mondays with Myrt early so she can have dinner and be ready to come back for book club. And that's a different link over there on the Dear Myrtle archive YouTube channel. And then our guy from the great state of California, Randy Seaver. Let's see what's happening. Yeah, let's see what's happening out there. June is here, morning from New Hampshire. There's Gwen, cloudy in San Diego. Now you two, Gwen, you and Randy are San Diego and these, whatever. San Diego and, how do you say it, Randy? Am I saying it correctly? Mm-hmm. A resident of Seattle is a Seattleite. A resident of San Diego would be a San Diegoan.
San Diego.
Agan. Okay, San Diegan. Hi, Marcia. Let's see. And Backblaze. You got your Backblaze going on your new computer. That's excellent. Aside from having an external hard drive for backup, we really need to back up our data to the cloud. And Backblaze is a very good alternative. Yeah, we're about the same temperature, and we are sunnier than you are today, Randy. Happy Monday to everyone from Minnesota. And you've got your grandpups visiting. That's wonderful. Hi, Kathleen. Yeah. We're lucky with the sun up here too in Seattle and clear up here to Guaymas Island. I'm about an hour and a half from the Canadian border, but I have to take a ferry to get there too. And there's Sherry, and remember, she is one of our moderators on the YouTube side, keeping you guys in order. Yeah, and thanks, Frank, for letting people know I'd be a minute or two late. Good morning, Barbara at Project Kin. Lovely day. Yeah. Hi. Oh, we had a lot of rain this weekend, didn't we? Jill, you and I, did you get the rain down there?
We did. And we're getting some We're getting some echoing effect for the panel from the panelists to the listeners.
Okay, so if we're getting echoes, I see almost all of you've muted. Okay, let's have all of the panelists mute and see if it is me that is causing the problem. Is it me that is causing the echoing problem? Is it fixed? Tell me it's fixed and that there's no more echo.
It's only you that's not echoing.
It's on me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to unplug my...
We cannot hear you, but it doesn't seem to be echoing at my end.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I mean, echo's gone.
So we are good.
Okay, so what I did was, and usually when I use my C920 headset, there's better sound quality. But thank you all in the audience for letting us know. What I did was I unplugged it, and you're listening to me now through my Logitech webcam. Yay, the terrible echo stopped. Good. All right. Hello to John. And you all can keep your mics on. It's better. Then you can just jump in and there's no issue. Thank you for sharing links on my behalf, Randy. I appreciate that. And today my co-host will be Frank, and my timer is Ellen. Yes, a good day from Cleveland. Okay, Monta is here. Bev is here. Yes, happy Thanksgiving to our friends. Thank you for the healing energy. And hello, Robin from Houston, and Cindy Bray. Gosh, there's so many of you. I can't even say hello to everybody. Claire, if you want to come and be on the panel, remember the link is in our secret private Facebook messaging and our secret private Facebook group. Anyway, whatever. You're always welcome. All right. Okay, so on with the docket. Okay, now that I've messed up all my audio and video, I want to share something with y'all. Let's have everybody go to the wings. And I got to have a unique experience on Friday. Now, normally my guests appear in person, but Connie Knox had quite a schedule, and she agreed to meet with me, and we did a recording session. We could have talked for hours, but I'm going to make my screen full screen over there, and I'd like you to hear the interview I had with Connie Knox. All right. And I'll press the play button, and I pray you guys can hear this. Can you hear it? Oh, criminy. All right, so here's what's happening. When we disconnected my audio, we ruined our ability to hear this interview. I'm going to have to think of what to do about that. While I'm thinking, let me quit screen sharing. Dang, that's kind of upsetting. Let's have everybody come back, and we'll move to the next part. This video is available. It's unlisted. Do you want to share that link? I'm going to somehow insert it. I just don't understand why I get to have these challenges today. All right, so we have a question of the day.
And that is, it's been a long time since we got together. What have you done with AI lately? And Randy, we're going to have to like sit on you because that'd take up a couple of days worth to keep up with you.
I'm not worthy.
I know. So let's start with Frank, because you've been doing an interesting project. Talk to us a little bit, Frank.
Yeah, I stumbled upon a blog post where the blogger simply suggests, try out to let ChatGPT turn an obituary or a story or something that it can interpret into a getcom file. And so I did that not just once, but twice, because I want to see, can I trigger it to hallucinate?
How did it work? Quality-wise.
To my surprise, it works flawlessly. Because in my experiment, I added to the prompt two obituaries at once, and I wanted to because husband and wife died just 4 years from each other separately, and I wanted to see if the AI can figure out that these are husband and wife from each other.
And did it?
And it did.
Wow. Okay. So you're creating little GEDCOM files based on, in this case, 2 obituaries.
Yep.
So interestingly, I'm wondering if more grandchildren had been born.
They have, but as they are not known, just named that there are some.
Oh, like some. There were 9 and now there's 10.
Exactly. So the AI was even clever enough to not use some names instead, or hallucinate these names for the grandchildren. It totally left them out.
Okay, and you use ChatGPT, and is this the free version?
It is the normal free version.
Okay, all right. Excellent. Interesting to note that you told it to look at these 2 things and then do that, as opposed to look at the whole World Wide Web and then do this. Interesting. Did it add any names of relatives that were not mentioned?
Nope.
Like that are actual relatives. So it didn't likely go to Wikitree and look for that couple and see who their siblings were or anything like that. So it
didn't. The only problem that I stumbled upon is that while it listed the source in the notes in the getcom, as I imported it into Roots Magic, the notes was left out. So I don't have a source citation in Roots Magic. But that's a problem with the getcom file in Roots Magic, not with the AI.
So that kind of answers Tony's question. Hi, Tony from Ireland. I love these international aspects. We were wondering what version of GEDCOM it generated, and you didn't specify any version.
5.5.1 actually.
Oh, okay. There's your answer, Tony. 5.5.1. Interesting. And while I'm in the comment area, let me just share, and we'll go to Ellen next after this. Monta is saying she uses AI a lot. She has Perplexity Pro and she keeps it open all day. She uses it instead of Google. So you're using it for lookups. She watched an old webinar from 2023, which is about 20 years ago in the world of AI, and it's still surprisingly current. Yeah. Okay, and then let's see, there's something else. Let's see, Gemini to restore photos. Thank you, Marcia. Let's see, anything else? Everything else is about the headset. So we're good. I think we're caught up. Oh, and Quinn wants to know what version of Roots Magic.
The last one. I
So,
don't remember which is the.
Mhm.
It's 11.
It's
Yeah.
11. Okay.
Yep, we're up to 11. Okay, and Claire's saying, in her opinion, Gemini is working the best for the kind of work that she does. I think one thing we need to understand is, and you can learn this from following the work that Randy does. If you want to do a specific task, like write a poem or a song, or do this or do that, you are not always going to use the same AI model. And Claire is saying Gemini is best in her opinion for pictures. And I think many people would agree with her on that. Okay. And Flo says she's not interested in AI yet, maybe someday. And I do recommend that you take an institute course or watch every possible Blaine Bettinger or Steve Little or Mark Thompson video you can get access to. Also,
that's
their
nice.
podcast, Steve and Mark's podcast. Here's some more. Did I say this? Oh, Betty Lou has been using AI to find out more about what things mean in military metal so she can research multiple records at once. Now that's kind of interesting because it can do that kind of a lookup very quickly. Yes, across multiple platforms even. Okay. And hi, Kirsten. She used ChatGPT to organize all her Find a Grave information. It helped to group her people in the right families based on the plot information that she provided. Yeah, it could do that pretty quickly. Very interesting. Randy, you have an opinion here, so talk about Gemini there.
Well, Gemini is a Google product, of course, so it's going to, work all the time to answer questions. I use it all the time. I go to Google and it answers the question. And for thinking things, then you go to Gemini and have it think for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you may learn something. And
Mm-hmm.
it's instantaneous Wikipedia is what all this is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's information. It's the encyclopedia from 50 years ago. Okay. And better and better. And then it does things that we can't imagine at this point in time in genealogy anyway. But it will be able to do it because they're coming up with agents to do multitask things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see what this is. Jill. So talk about your concept here. Start simple.
Well, I think that sometimes if we start at the intermediate or advanced level, we get frustrated too quickly. And so I think that the simplest thing to do is just start on one platform and get comfortable with that one, doing things like, and not even complex things. Have it transcribe a document for you that's handwritten that you give it. Have it summarize something that you give it. By giving it things to read, then you can often get a much higher quality product. And so you don't get frustrated right away. So I did things like Archive Digital, which is a Swedish website, is testing out their transcription process. And of course, it's in Swedish. I don't read a word of Swedish outside of surnames and birth, marriage, and death. And so it gave me 2 pages of a court document that had gone through their transcription process, but it was in Swedish. I snipped it. I didn't even copy it. I snipped it as a document, gave it to ChatGPT, and asked it to translate it. And poor Orlu Larson, he hit his master over the head with a hammer. So it was right there in the document. So, and if your guy was from Hammersby and was named Orlu Larson, you know, you're gonna find yourself, you know, with a record you could never get to otherwise. So that's one of the things I did, was just as a test, see how it's going. Now, my parish isn't covered yet. They didn't cover the court documents yet, but they're starting with just the court documents. But that's one of the ways you can have it look at a document that's in pretty clear writing, even in a foreign language, and ask it to either transcribe it for you so you can put it in your notes, or to translate it for you and you can put it in your notes. So that's one of the things I did just this past week.
And last year at this time, you had to use one, like, transcribus to have it translate. Well, first you had to do the handwriting analysis.
I do testing every once in a while because the platforms change so much. What's good today is X, and it's not maybe the best in, you know, 3 months from now.
Right.
So I try and just do a test every once in a while of the 3 platforms I use, or as I try a new one, I just use the same text and ask it to handwritten text and asked it to translate it. And I go to Google, I go to Chat, I go to Perplexity, I go to Claude, whoever, and I say, okay, write this up for me. And I see who's the better writer. It used to be Claude. Right now, it's ChatGPT. So it's interesting to me how the platforms change because they're changing so fast.
It's quite fast. And Andrew says that's a great way to start, using it as a helpful tool to support our work rather than to create something from scratch.
Right, because sometimes we can't. I honestly can't tell if Oler Larson actually hit the master with a hammer or not on the head, because I don't know enough Swedish. But I now have something that I could do some tests on some words.
I like the idea of taking the same prompt and the same snippet and putting it in multiple places. For instance, I used to be quite enamored of Perplexity because it gave me sources.
Right.
And now that's not the only place that will give you sources.
That's right.
And that to me was really important. And let's see, we're getting a million comments here, and I haven't even gotten to Hillary, and you're leaving shortly. So let's ask Hillary, what have you been doing lately with AI?
I haven't really been using AI. The only things I ever use anything for is I use tools to help me with citations more than anything. I've not got to the stage where where I'm getting it. I used Transcribus ages ago, but I've not used it recently. That's about the only time I've ever really used anything to actually get a different output from it, and that was a long time ago now. So I'm busy doing lots of updating of stuff and that, so I'm thinking I need to update things before I start adding anything new in. So
you want to that's a good thing to consider, that you want your compiled genealogy to be as accurate as you can get it before you start venturing into this unknown world of AI. I mean, it's not totally unknown to you, but anyway. All right, I've figured out what I'm going to have to do, so I'll be able to share my video with you all. And it's going to involve my needing to leave and come back, and I don't want to do that till we finish this particular conversation. Now, one of the things that Marcia brings up is that I should have included Randy's blog in the way as a place for you to learn how to use AI. One of the reasons why is that Randy gives you the prompt that he used. And you've heard that the prompt, the wording of a prompt, I think was in the past extremely important to have a very detailed, very precise prompt. It seems to me that AI is getting a little more intuitive and a little more readily capable of interpreting what the heck does that human mean. But Randy then shows you he did this here, so you go do it there. Copy his prompt, just change his ancestors' names for your ancestors' name and information, and then see what happens. And if you wanted to create a view from the house, for instance, just follow, on part of your screen, if you have even just one monitor, put Randy on one side, and you can use Alt Tab to get to your work and copy and paste and use Randy's blog, Genia Musings, as a tutorial. And he's doing this multiple times during the week. He's doing different activities with AI. Just a second. Okay. Betty Lou says it's good information, but I've only used AI a little, but I have realized each platform has its strengths and weaknesses, and it changes like literally every other day. Which one is better or not so good? It's a race. It's like watching
Right.
mice try to race through a little a little racetrack. It's challenging. Gwen says she's used ChatGPT for location guides, perplexity, where to look for records after I've used the standard sources. And that's really a good research strategy because we don't know what we don't know. And what I may consider the standard sources might be completely different from what Jill thinks because our research is in different areas. And our experience in doing research. We're both pretty good researchers, I'd say. I'm not as good as Jill, but anyway, yeah, that's to bust past our own blinders. And that's a good use of AI. I like that. Cindy's saying, has anyone tried Sora? It is ChatGPT's imaging, not available to the free accounts. Wondering if it might be worth upgrading. No, don't pay for upgrades because before too long, it will become part of the mainstream. I say that I got pro accounts to ChatGPT and all its iterations. And now it's all combined. When you go to ChatGPT now, so much of what I paid extra for is now available for free. And Randy's shaking his head, yes.
Second adopters. We need to be second adopters and not first adopters. Let someone else figure it out, and then we use it.
Very good point.
On the other hand, I would suggest that supporting these people with a small amount of money is not a bad idea. Yeah. Because they do need support. That nothing is free, and so I actually have a professional account with ChatGPT, but because I like the research button and the new things they add and that sort of thing. But we do need to support these people.
Yeah. All right. So Frank says you notice that it still works and helps is to tell AI, especially ChatGPT, to act the role of an expert in the field you want it to do.
Yep.
Interesting. Just a subtle little thing like that makes the difference. And then thank you for including the AI and genealogy compendium at geniamusings.com, Randy's blog. Tell me more, Randy.
Well, the compendium is a collection. I started back, a year and a bit now, to try and for me to organize a place that I could go to quickly to understand what AI is and what the tools are and what people have written and what people have talked about in videos and webinars, things like that. So it has lists of all those things, and I update it every week or two with the last information.
Mm-hmm.
And the last information for each topic is kind of at the top of the topic. So
Okay.
so the compendium starts with. So it's been a help for me, but then I put it out there, and people have started looking at it, and so I feel an obligation now to keep posting on it. General articles. There was a state of the AI report for 2025 just last week, and that it's a 300 slide show, basically, and it's unintelligible to me. But if you want to see where it's going, they have these reports for every year. So I put it there. There's more. There's the two experts that I see are this V. Moshkowitz and I forget the guy, Ethan Mollick.
Ethan Mollick.
They post every once in a while, and they're deep into it and have opinions and test everything. And so it's fun to do that. The next item is, are AI tools useful? And so here's just a list of what I've used. I haven't updated that recently. I probably should. Note it doesn't have versions on it because they change so often.
Totally get that.
And I see I don't have DeepSeek in there. I should put DeepSeek, but that's okay. That survey, that status for 2025, really concentrated on DeepSeek, the Chinese thing. The Chinese are heavily into this. I mean, just totally into it, and a lot of the progress is made there. So that's what I gathered from that status report, which is done by experts, in a number of fields. So there's a lot of custom prompts that the folks have made, and Steve and Mark have done a lot of these, and over time, it's been over 2 years now for some of these, and those are very helpful in the beginning, especially. The locality guide is great.
Yeah.
So there's just, and then other people have done something. Diane Elder, Blaine Bettinger, Jen, I can't remember who it is, did a detranscriber, an abstractor. So there's, and I haven't found many recently, but there's a lot more. You can just look at ChatGPT prompt on ChatGPT, and it will give you a long list you can search and find. There's useful genealogy and AI websites. Here's the Family History AI Show podcast by Steve and Mark, and that is every 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, depending on news and things like that. There's a podcast now for Ancestors and Algorithms by Brian Nash, I think is the last name. The Genealogy and AI Facebook group is excellent, and that is where a lot of news about genealogy is given. And then a number of blogs. So I've just highlighted the blogs, and maybe that list is a little out of date also. If people have written more than 3 or 4, then I put it on there. And useful webinars, and these are by provider.
Notice that a lot of these are either from Roots Tech, which means it's free.
I grouped them all together. Yeah. So the Roots Tech, there's Family Tree webinars, which are not all free. When it's paid, I put a $sign. And so so you can look back in time, but other than this category, the top of the list is the most recent.
Okay, so they are in not alphabetical order. They're in chronological order with the most recent on top in that category.
Well,
Sort
only
of.
it turns out only for videos and for webinars. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's keep going because it's a long list.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Look,
But
I'm not even a third of the way down the page. Close your eyes, guys.
you just passed the well.
Yeah. Last
So,
updated. This is incredible.
so there's a list of blog posts and a list of YouTube videos also there. So,
Yep.
and I haven't updated it for a week, so I'm sorry.
A whole week. My gosh.
And then I have my own page with my stuff on the link there just above the last updated. So.
All right, folks, I noticed when I sent this link out, it cut it off. There's only so many characters for a comment. So I repeated it with the correct, so we were missing the Y of genealogy in the previous post. It came out like that. Okay. Yes. Okay. So have we talked with everybody about AI? Have we got all our comments in? Yeah, not updated for a week. That is a long time in the world of AI. Sure
And especially for Randy.
yes.
See, I told you I'm not worthy.
Yeah, I totally hear you. Wow.
I have all the tools. I do an education post every week, and that has the videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a news post every week, and also the Genia blog, which has the blog. So I take from that. I'm only adding, 5 to 10 blog posts a week or 4 to 8 videos a week to it.
Mm-hmm.
I do more posts than that on my own. So
I hear you. I want to talk to you about a conversation that I had with Yvette Hotink. She recently did a blog post or a webinar over on Family Tree Webinars, and it was about her research to connect all the generations back from her birth to Eleanor of Aquitaine to determine if she was in fact a descendant of Eleanor. And so she posted something interesting. I watched that webinar. That was interesting enough. But then she said that she'd found out that Family Tree Webinars had created a whole new area where they'd taken that webinar and used AI with her voice to speak in French and give that webinar in French. And I said, all too often people, shy away or they refuse to even learn about AI. They see that term hallucinate, and then that's a justification for totally avoiding AI. And her evaluation of the AI translation, which she said was amazing, and the AI pronunciation, that which was excellent. That should be an important element to have us all become more enamored of the idea of beginning to use AI. We're already using AI with spell check, the red squiggly lines under our misspelled words, etc. It's been, we're using it at full text search. That's how Ancestry was able to, instead of taking 9 months to do the 1940 U.S. Census indexing, they did it in 9 days for 1950. I think it was 9 days, but it was under a double-digit number. And so in response to that, let me read what she said. she speaks French as well, but not as well as she does English. And she gave her presentation in English at Family Tree Webinars. She was hesitant to give the whole webinar in French, even though she actually speaks French. She's just better at English. So it was a great opportunity. The quality of the translation was excellent, although not perfect, but she was, quote, seriously impressed. It is weird, though, she says, to hear herself speak in French with a slight American accent, since in reality, she speaks French with a Dutch accent. And so you see how distinct she is describing the experience of seeing the results of the AI translation of her webinar from English to French. And Randy, you mentioned something else about translating of webinars over there at Family Tree Webinars. Tell us about it.
I don't remember what I said. I'm sorry.
Espanol.
Oh, yeah, that. Okay. They're giving webinars in French in a series and also in Spanish in a series, different webinars, different speakers. So it isn't AI, it's webinars.
Oh, okay. So that's not using AI.
That's not using AI, no. That's
Okay.
right.
So
but think about this, Myrt. I'm thinking about what's next, and this isn't a big leap. I'm sure they're working on it already. Is you're traveling in France, you have your earbuds in here, and they are talking in French, and you are hearing it in English. Think about that. Now, think about someone who is hearing challenged or visually challenged. I mean, all of a sudden, this becomes a tool to really help even the physically handicapped in whatever way they are. I mean, they've already got it able to type it in and have it, show to the bus driver where they want to get off, that sort of thing. But it has some real opportunities for kind of flipping into the future really easy and really slickly.
So when we still lived in Utah, so that was only 3.5 years ago, I would go get a shot in my knee at a sports place in Provo, Utah, sports medicine. And were a lot of Spanish speaking people there, but none of the employees there were Spanish speaking. And I was observing that these Spanish speaking individuals were coming in with some app on their phone, and they held it between like themselves and the receptionist. And then they so that they could read what it was happening in the app.
Right. It was transcribing the voice to the memo, and then it was translating the memo.
And then that person spoke and then turned the phone and showed it to the receptionist so the receptionist could read the response.
Right. This takes that out of the middle part of it. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see how this all can assist the physically handicapped and ourselves as we travel as well.
It'll be interesting. Yes. Thank you for including your link to your particular post as opposed to your compendium with what other people are doing and thinking. And suddenly sci-fi turns science. Imagine the Babelfish becomes reality. Yeah. Very, very close. I get this. Okay. All right. So I figured out what I need to do. I need to go out and come all the way back in and hope and pray that the settings I've made on my computer while you all were talking will take effect so that I will be able to show the Connie Knox interview. So what would you like to talk about while I'm gone, and who wants to be the main host? Well, I'll start it off and then I'll leave. And I'm going to point to Jill here, and we're all going to cross our fingers like Frank says that it works, because it's a fun interview. I had the privilege of attending what I call the CG or certification prep course that Jill teaches through the Seattle Genealogical Society. And it's a virtual meeting. And I learned so much. I'm not planning to become certified for various reasons. What I did, why I took it was because I want to know about the process. I know it's changed somewhat, so I want to know the mechanics of it. But I also wanted to, there are certain rubrics or standards of performance with research and citing and analysis and stuff like that, that are part of the certification process that a person would go through to become a certified genealogist. And I wanted to have a discussion or be part of a discussion of what those standards or rubrics are, those measures of competency, so that it would improve my own research. I'm working on a major project where I'm taking the land entry files for the original white landowners who bought property from the federal government here on Guaymas Island. And I want to be sure that I am not, that I'm doing my best work. And that's why I took the course. And the course and the discussions that Jill inspired among the participants, we all had our mics live, was an astounding experience to me. Very worthwhile. So Jill, I would like you in this next segment, while I'm gone for a minute or two or three, talk about Board for Certification, the certification project, and how and why you developed the program.
Okay.
All right. It's
All right.
very successful. I'm going to ruin the statistics because I know I'm not going to go for certification, although I am secretly entertaining it after taking the course. There's a very high percentage rate of those who have taken this prep course who succeed.
Right.
And anyway, all right, I'm going to,
Okay.
I hope I don't lose you all.
We do too.
All right, I'm going to leave the studio, see what happens.
Okay. So the certification discussion group has a public webpage, so feel free to go to that page if you want to. Just search on certification discussion group, you'll find it. And so it was founded, now we are entering our 10th year, which is pretty phenomenal for a class like this. The course actually just does review what the BCG requirements are, the Board for Certification of Genealogists. And I noticed that there's a number of attendees in the crowd who have taken the course. So certainly if you have some comment about it, please feel free. It is not our goal to turn everybody who takes the course into a CG, a certified genealogist. That is definitely not our goal. And in fact, of the ones we have who have received the credential, it's only about 10%. So at this point. Now, the thing to remember is I loved Myrt's comment about how she had no intention of getting her certification, but after taking the course, she's thinking about it a little differently. There are a number of people who had no idea about taking it and were quite affirmed to not take it. And funny things, they now sit on the Board for Certification of Genealogists Board of Trustees. So with that, then I use that as kind of a hallmark for us. But it is not the requirement or even the intent. Our intent is to demystify the process. We think that it has, that it puzzles people, that there's sections of it they don't get. And so we cover strategies and techniques. So it was started about 10 years ago when I was not a CG. I crossed my fingers that I would get the CG because I knew I couldn't teach the course unless I had it. I did receive the credential in January of 2017, and I started it started the course in February of 2017. So I already had a plan in my head about what this course was going to be like. We now have almost 800 alumni of the course. It's offered twice a year, once in the winter and once in the fall. We just finished the fall course. We'll be doing the winter course here in, I don't know, February or March, date's not set. And what we say for people, if you are even remotely interested in finding about it, that you sign up on our wait list. You will get an email that says, are you interested or not? And you can say, no, I'm not interested now. And so sign out. That's okay. So it works out pretty well. We meet twice a week. I always want to run a morning class as well as an evening class. I was a genealogist when I worked, and I worked 8 to 7, it seemed like sometimes. And so I really did want to try to offer something for people who worked. And so an evening course will always be on my agenda. That works out pretty late for East Coast people, but it works, for others. The morning class works really well for Europeans and Australians. So it works out pretty well. So here we have Myrt coming in, but I seem to be at an echo.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, keep talking.
Okay.
It's still working.
I was really pleased that Pat signed up for the course this past time. It was a great fun to have her. She offered comments. As I mentioned, I'm sorry. We're getting a lot of feedback.
Okay, I will go adjust. Sorry.
It's the video tab. Just mute it in StreamYard.
Is that better now?
Let me see. Nope.
Nope.
Okay, it's not a good day in the neighborhood. Okay, so
Maybe we just video.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out and come back in.
Okay.
But I'm going to amend this video, this Mondays with Myrt, and insert the Connie Knox interview manually after we finish Mondays with Myrt. Sorry. I'll see you in a little bit.
So the point of the course is really not to turn you into a certified genealogist, but rather that your work and your family deserve to be at the highest of standards. And so to that end, then, what are those high standards? Well, the only group that really does outline what they are is Board for Certification of Genealogists. And so as a consequence, using their little genealogy standards book here, using this, every class we go through each one of the items that are required. We go through the rubrics, what they're grading against, and then we go through 1 or 2 items in genealogy standards to see what quality of work we're supposed to be doing. And I find it just fascinating, the people who come. Some of them are rote beginners that they just want to know more. Some of them have been researching for a long time. And some of them are really over ready and should be, in fact, applying immediately. They should be working on their portfolio immediately. It's now 2 parts, which makes it a little easier. You don't have to invest as much time initially to get a review. And who doesn't want reviews of their work? I mean, you want to know if your work's up to snuff or not. And so I always make the offer to all of the graduates that if they want me to review their work, I will. But if I do review their work, they can't submit it as part of their portfolio because that's one of the requirements. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but I'm certainly willing to ask them. And there's been some nice comments in the chat also about it. So I appreciate the positive comments. Thank you. We do no advertising. So it's social media or that's it. So if you are interested, just sign up for the wait list. We have a awesome Facebook page where we meet every 2 weeks and we talk to people who have received their credential and what their strategies and desires were. And so we have just an awesome Facebook group. And we run the only mentorship program in the country, organized mentorship program.
I'm glad you mentioned the mentorship program because I was one of those from the olden days who heard once you were on the clock, you could not talk to anybody about anything.
Right.
That's partially true. Can you explain the fine line?
Well, it's actually not as fine a line as people think it is. It's pretty clear in the application guide that your initial portfolio cannot be proofread, critiqued, or reviewed by another person. And they're interpreting that person also to be AI. So you cannot use AI. But the idea here is that that we talk about everything other than your portfolio. So we talk about strategies and techniques and methodologies. So we think about it differently. But I was also raised in the environment of I couldn't even talk about it at all. And when Tom Jones asked me what the topic of my case study was, I felt I couldn't tell him.
So there's a difference between actually reviewing your write-up, like for your kinship determination or your case study, and saying, my case study involves same named guy, same named wife, and how I resolved it.
Yep.
I noticed during the course, when someone asked you a question, and this happened maybe only twice, and the question was too specific to their case study, you had to say, I can't listen, I cannot respond. And that way you were training us to begin to think differently. We can discuss the concept, but not the specifics.
Correct.
Yeah, and the other thing that I learned, I learned to have less fear of becoming certified.
We're getting an awful lot of background noise from someone.
Somebody's
I'm not
typing.
sure. It sounds like typing.
Yeah, somebody's typing.
Okay, go ahead and state your statement again, Myrt. I didn't understand it.
I overcame fear of actually going through the process.
Right.
And I thought when they sent me something to transcribe, it could be from like Italy and I'd have to suddenly know it. And that I probably should do it on King County, Washington, because I can go to the archive and get a better copy than BCG sent me.
Correct.
And I could look at handwriting before and after and stuff like that to help me transcribe. But already in a record set, I could request something in a locality where it's likely I've already encountered that odd record set that they might be coming up with.
Yep. We talk about a lot of those kinds of techniques and tricks to be able to make the journey easier.
Yes, it's sort of like an SAT prep. Very worthwhile.
Thank you very much. Well, we were glad to have you in the class.
Well, thank you. I totally enjoyed it. Okay, Hillary's saying something here. What are you talking about, Hillary?
I recall when we used to work on people's wiki tree things, that one person was saying that they don't touch one part of their tree because it was being used for their certification by them. So they didn't want anybody else to do anything with that particular part of their tree. I can't remember who it was. It was some while ago now, but obviously that was part of the thing. They didn't want anybody to do anything that would mean they couldn't use that for their certification.
And I would suggest that that's a false myth. That a public tree, wiki tree, any of the trees are not what you're going to produce for BCG at all. And notice I said cannot be reviewed, critiqued, or proofread of the initial application, which is the actual submission. You aren't going to submit that public tree. You're not going to submit that wiki tree. You're not even going to submit a blog that you did. But what you are going to do is you're going to have to completely rewrite it. And you're going to have to write it in a way that answers all of the genealogy standards piece. And so as a consequence, I consider that a myth. Now, that person is protecting it for whatever reason they think is necessary. But that's one of the myths that we dispel.
Mm-hmm. I had an interesting case study of when was my grandmother actually born, what year.
Mm-hmm.
And it had to do with a Bible entry and what it said on her obituary card. So my mother was the informant, and of course the death record said the same birth because mom was the same informant. But I discussed that intensively in my blog and on several webinars I've given and in-person presentations where we discuss that topic. It would be, I think I've discussed it enough that I wouldn't feel comfortable using it.
Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
Not a problem. To do what is your comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been a perfect case study because, especially when the denouement is when Iowa, who said they had no birth records, when their delayed birth certificates came out around 1939, when Social Security, you had to sign up for a Social Security number, the person who delivered my grandmother, the woman, it's a female doctor, wrote out a delayed birth certificate for my grandmother saying she was the attendant at birth, and it was on such and such. And so she was obviously referring to her medical records in her office. And that agreed with the family Bible. And then there was my mother admitting that her mother had made her swear she would never let Grandpa Mike know, the second husband, know that grandmother was older, and so she had fibbed on her birth year on their marriage certificate application, their marriage license. I love it. Okay. What is okay, one little comment here. The best thing you learned is that your blog stories are okay, even if I use that family in my portfolio. Interesting.
Stories are stories. It's not what's required. It's not your initial application. You're not submitting your blog post. And if you do, you're going to get rejected. So you might as well not do that. It's not going to happen. So you just, the fear level around this particular portion is at a 9 out of 10 scale on it. And that fear that you talked about of how you couldn't even, I remember that Karen and I were sitting at a bar one time on a high table, I even remember, whispering about our portfolio because we thought we couldn't talk about it. So it was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Stop already. So anyway, we do that evaluation that asks the question about how did you feel about the portfolio process when you began and how did you feel about it afterwards, echoes exactly what you're saying, that you have only a casual interest and all of a sudden now you may be a little more interested than you were.
Yeah, I get it. All right, well, thank you for that. And you gave me a lot of time to do a few things. Here's what I'm going to do. Since I want to have time this morning to add the recording, I even have a local recording So it isn't just YouTube's issue. I want to stop Mondays with Myrt now, and so that I'll have space in the hour and a half time period we're going to be going over with that interview with Connie Knox added. I am so sorry. You know, technology does this to us sometimes. The best laid plans of mice and men. It's a good interview. My purpose, let me just mention, my purpose in inviting Connie is I recognize that I'm pulling back to only being here every other week, and a heck of a lot happens in the world of genealogy. It's not a dead subject at all. And as I'm pulling back, I want to point you to people that are there on the cutting edge and are discussing it within the next day of a press release from one of the websites that now you can do this, or now your ancestry DNA results can show that, etc. And I see Connie Knox as that person at GenealogyTV. So with that, I would like to switch gears, and I will now be inserting the Connie Knox interview. But yeah, thank you so much, folks, for understanding. Thank you, team, for being here. Thanks for some interesting discussions, of which I was only privy to at least one, and part of Jill's. It's been quite a day. Nothing left to say but happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.